Do you enjoy accidentally killing your own teammates? Do you like the idea of having your entire inventory be filled with the same item?
Oh, fuck yeah!
And finally, do you love dealing 0 damage because of the game's technical issues? If you say yes to all of these questions, then the shockwave hammer might just be your new favorite weapon. When Epic Games started Chapter 3, they were trying multiple ways to make mobility in Fortnite better. And with most people responding positively to it, Epic Games decided that it would be a good idea to invent an item that not only works as a broken mobility tool, but also a completely fair and balanced weapon. Now, the hammer has 2 main features that you should definitely know about. The first feature is about the mobility feature, aka the shockwave grenade part of the weapon. But while shockwave grenade is single use, you can actually launch yourself with the hammer for an infinite amount of time. The only catch is that it only has a maximum of 4 charges on it, and when it runs out, you actually need to wait a few seconds for it to recharge. But this issue doesn't exist if you at least have 2 hammers in your inventory, meaning that as long as this is inside your inventory, you will automatically have the best mobility tool in the entire game. As you might have guessed by the name of the weapon, it can also be used to attack people. The hammer deals around 75 damage normally, but it can also deal 125 damage if you manage to land it
for the second time.
The hammer also launches your opponent into Neptune, which means your opponent will have no control for their movement, and you can just use that time to land another attack.
You just came out of nowhere.
The one issue with this hammer is it has a very huge end lag. If you miss the attack, your enemy actually has a chance to counter you. That is, if they don't get petrified with fear over the fact that you will attack them 2 seconds later. So if you happen to meet a player who has no emotions, you're out of luck. Here's a fun fact about the hammer. You know how in-game there's an augmentation to just straight up never get fall damage for the rest of the game? Well, the hammer also basically prevents you from ever dealing fall damage. All you need to do is to hold the attack button or bounce button in mid-air. And if you do that, falling 20 meters and above should no more be a problem. The only difference is that the hammer doesn't take up an augmentation slot, and you can always switch with another item if you don't feel like saving yourself. So with that in mind, whenever you're choosing augments, always skip aerialist, no matter how garbage the other option is. Speaking of augments, Party Time is a good combo whenever you're playing with the hammer. It gives a boost to your hammer mobility, and you can actually control when you want to hit your opponents. It's definitely something worth checking out. Also, with how balanced the hammer is, each person would at least have one of these in the average endgame. So whenever you made it into the top 10, people in there are just gonna be like, in the end, the hammer is a weapon that relies not by damage itself, but by inflicting your opponents with emotional trauma. But you know what? That's completely okay. Because not gonna lie, smashing your final opponent from up in the sky is probably the most fun thing you can do in casual plays. And I respect that.